What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our channel. So today we have a very important task for us. It's something that we've been meaning to get to for quite some time now. We need to move these pigs onto a different area on our plot of land that we have. They've been in this pasture for about 3 to 4 months now. They have really done an excellent job of cleaning out the understory underneath. They've cleaned out all the poison ivy, the brambles, everything that we couldn't get to with the brush hog. But they have been on it for about 3 to 4 months, as I stated, and it's time to get them onto some fresh greenery. We have poly electric line that we have set up. We're going to be testing new poly stakes today. We have black plastic instead of these gray round fiberglass rods that we've been using. We have white poly line from a different supplier that we're going to be testing instead of this yellow and black stuff that we got at Tractor Supply. We're just kind of trying new things and trying to do a little head-to-head comparison of different products, you know, for ourselves and maybe let you guys know. We're trying to address a couple issues here. One is obviously we're trying to clear out the understory on our land. The other thing that we're trying to address is behind me, their feeder. The feeder is actually on a hill, and because it's on a hill, I had to raise up one side, and because that side is raised up, they're actually stepping in the feeder. And that's something that you don't want with pigs, is them stepping in their food. That's how they get really wormy and everything else, and we don't want that. So we have a nice area of our pasture over here. They're gonna have plenty of grass in this new area. It's not flat, but it's more consistent, so the feeder will be nice and flat. And we can locate their feeder, their waterer, and their bedding area all in the same location. We have a stack of poly stakes. We have a brand new spool of wire. We need to start putting our stakes in. I've already gone around in the woods where we're going to be running the electric line, and I've brush hogged that whole area so we have no understory coming up and touching the line and grounding it out. So we have a lot of work to do. Let's just jump right in and start getting our stakes in the ground. So one of the things that we do have to accomplish with this is we need to put a gate between the two paddocks that we have. So we have our existing paddock over here for the pigs, and then we have a new one we're building over here. So we have 4 strands because these pigs came in here very young at age, about 8 weeks, and they weren't electric trained. So we have 3 real low strands, which is a little overkill for the size that they are right now. But we're going to be cutting these and putting some electric fence handles in line in this fence line. That way we can open up the 2 paddocks and pass the pigs back and forth. We have our black poly stakes, and what we're going to be doing is actually running straight down this grass line right here, if you can see where I've been brush hogging, and we're going to be putting these poly stakes in a nice straight line, and this grassy area is going to be the area that we actually set up for the pig hut, the water, and the feeder. As we get down the other end, we'll make the corner, we'll go down towards the woods, and then we'll cut through the woods with our stakes, come back around, and then mend right into the existing fence line. All right, so now that we have all of our poly stakes in the ground, we have a couple left over, and it's a good thing to have a couple left over because once you run the poly string, we noticed when we did the first paddock for the pigs, there were some areas, some humps in the ground that we didn't account for when putting in all the stakes, and it's good to have a couple to go back and just put a stake in the ground on that high area and keep the fence up off the ground. The more attention you pay to the vegetation around the bottom string of your fence line, the better off you're going to be if you can clear that out and just keep that fence line from getting grounded. So one of the things I do have to do is we're in here in the woods, and even though behind the camera I did brush hog the tall grass, in the woods where I'm standing right here, there is some vegetation that will ground out the fence line. I need to come back through here with a weed eater, maybe a rake and some clips, some snips or something like that, and actually just get all this brush and this low stuff away from the line, and then we should be good to go. So the stakes are on the ground. Let's start getting our wire all put up. On this paddock right here, we actually terminated the poly wire on every end post. So every end of the line, we cut it, terminated it, tied it off to the end post, started a new strand, ran it back, cut it, terminated it. You can still reuse that poly wire, but in my mind, I think our plan for this paddock is a little bit better. What we're going to do is actually terminate it onto this electric fence, run down, run back, and then we're actually going to leave the poly wire attached to this spool. And we have a poly wire spool right to my left that we're going to be hanging off this post. That way, when we want this poly wire back, we have the full 1,300 foot spool to do something else with, we don't have to tie all our poly wire fence together.
Reba's paying attention.
She's like, how are you touching that? All right, so all I've done here is actually just wrap it right around the existing wire right here and just put the spool right up on the top of this post for now. We're gonna add this onto our little poly wire spool we have over there, but this is all you need to terminate these two lines together. So as long as the metal strands that are in this existing wire are touching the metal strands in the new wire, you will have power to your new line. You can terminate this to the post, and if it's not touching this wire, you can actually buy prefabricated alligator clips to clip from this line over to here. They work really well, and it will go ahead and electrify your new line for you. So what we're going to do is actually turn the fence on now, and then it's going to be time to clean up the fence line through the woods, and then we're going to go ahead and move the feeder, the water, and the pig pen into their new area. Get this converted into a gate in this area right here, and then we'll open it up and see if these little piggies actually want to come into their new play area. I don't know, they have a pretty sound barrier where they think the electric fence is now, so I hear it can be tough to get them through where the fence was. We'll see. All right, so now we have the food station all moved, and I think this is gonna work out a lot better for them. It's more level over here, and it's also level side to side because this is kind of a gravity feed system. And what I did also notice with this feeder was that all the food was kind of shifting downhill to one side, and they were all fighting over one little door. So we got their hut all moved. I'm gonna go ahead, staple this off camera, get this all shored back up. I still need to put more of a rigid backing on this, but it's gonna work for now. The only other thing we have to move now is the watering can. So this is gonna be a little bit tricky. I am probably gonna put the watering can somewhere over here in this corner by where we're putting the gate. That way I can still plumb a hard line down around this fence line and keep that nice and short to the watering can. So I think what I wanna do now is go ahead and get the watering can all set up in this corner, and then we can open up this gate and see if the pigs will actually come in, or whether or not they want to actually even cross that line. So the challenge is with pigs is they know exactly where the fence used to be, and it's a mental game. So sometimes it can be a little bit hard to move them. I mean, this is our first time with pigs, but I've seen it plenty of time on other people's channels that when you're trying to move them paddock to paddock, it's not such an easy job. So we're gonna hang out here for a few minutes and see if these three little piggies actually want to go to their new home or not, how long it takes them. You know,
all good things to eat right
yeah, you know what this is? This is a walnut tree right here, and the first thing that they find is old walnuts, and I think that that's what they're doing. Tails are wagging, chomping is it's going on. This is not, they are not wanting to leave, but that tail wagging right there on both of them, all three of them wagging their tail. This is a good sign. They're happy, but they can be happy on the other side of the fence too.
these two made it past where the line was.
Mhm.
They found the walnuts and didn't want to go any further. Come on. The button.
Turn it on.
Go look at it. There's a button that looks like an on-off switch. Just see it. See it?
We've got them all moved. They're looking really good in this pasture. It is a really good feeling to get them in a different paddock and get them kind of roaming around and digging in some new forest. It's just so rewarding to get chickens on pasture every day and see them scratch and peck and just do the chicken dance every morning and just be so happy. And to see the pigs on fresh grass is absolutely rewarding. You can see behind me, they're going to town on all the walnuts, and I'm sure they're going to be going like this for a couple more hours. So we're going to go ahead, just fill their food real quick, fill their water. But that's going to be it for this video, guys. I'm really glad we got to show you how we move the pigs. It was a pretty successful experiment for us this time around. I couldn't be happier. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you want to watch our homestead grow, and we'll see you next time.